This is Marcela Montufar Soria. I'm the multimedia editor with the Paisano, and today I am interviewing UTSA alumni and ex-editor-in-chief of the Paisano, Mason Hickok. Mason, could you introduce yourself for us?
My name is Mason Hickok. I was editor-in-chief for 2 semesters, and I graduated in the position in May of last year. So coming up on a year post Paisano post-college.
And before we get into your post-college career, we'd like to get into your experience at UTSA. So what was your major at UTSA?
I was a communication major, and then I minored in film studies.
And how was your UTSA experience? Why did you choose to go to UTSA?
I think it was kind of by way of just proximity. I'm from San Antonio, and I when I graduated high school, which is actually I got an invite to my 10-year high school reunion like not too long ago. So it's been a long time since then. But I didn't go straight into college after high school, and just kind of worked a little bit, and kind of took some classes at the community colleges around San Antonio for a couple of years off and on. And once it kind of time rolled around where it was time to kind of look a little bit further outside of like an associate's degree, UTSA just kind of made sense. It's about a 20-minute drive from where I lived. I had a lot of friends that were going at the time, friends that had gone before. My cousin was going also right around the same time I was. And so just seemed to make sense. And, I didn't really have anything that was kind of taking me away from San Antonio at the time. And yeah, just made sense, I think.
And did you enjoy your time at UTSA?
I did. Yeah. It was, I always joke around a little bit, like my first semester was kind of not the best. And then my first semester was fall 2019, and then spring rolled around and had a couple months of normalcy, and we went on spring break and never came back. So we came back after a long time, but it took a little bit of getting used to just kind of the cycle of like a little bit of in person and then like online learning for what felt like a long time. So it was certainly hard to get adjusted to. I did enjoy my time overall, and especially when I found the Paisano. That really kind of was a really good thing for me, I think. So I did enjoy it overall.
Yeah, but you preferred the in-person experience over the online.
100%. Yeah, for sure.
I think we all did, for sure.
I think, yeah, I think in certain circumstances, it works for some people, others it doesn't. I'm certainly somebody it didn't really work too well for. And two, like when you take a really interesting class, like part of, the classroom experience is, especially if it's like a smaller class that's, not like an auditorium size class. I think of like one of the last classes I took for my major was it's probably like maybe 30 or so students max, but it was like one of the most engaging classes that I had probably taken of all the classes, just by way of being around other people. At that class was all communication majors, and so everybody there had kind of familiar experiences, the last couple semesters. But part of being in person is you get to meet other people. You get to, if your professor's super interesting, like, you get to hear from them in person, and online, it's not the same, I think, at least.
Yeah, I concur. And did you have a favorite class out of all the ones you took?
For sure. So a lot of the film classes are really interesting for me. I didn't really ever take any like kind of hands-on filmmaking stuff, which is, I actually really enjoyed some of the classes that were a little bit more like theory based and had required a lot of more reading and writing and stuff. But those are really cool. However, I think the class that I look back on that was like really informative for me and really interesting was a digital humanities class that I took. I think it just filled like an elective slot, but it was I think the professor that taught it was from the classics and like philosophy department or something like that. But she was super interesting. She knew a ton about like kind of San Antonio history and stuff. And the class itself too was a lot of mixed a lot of kind of like reading and writing and research and stuff. And just a really cool class. We sourced a lot of really interesting information from like different disciplines outside of history and communications. There was a lot of stuff with like anthropology and even like archaeology as well. And that was a super cool class.
I think I know the professor you mean. I think it's Dr. Jessica Nolan.
It is Dr. Jessica Nolan. Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, I've taken some of her archaeology, anthropology classes, and she's great for sure.
Yeah, she's cool. Awesome. Really cool.
Did you have any other professors that stood out to you?
I never had a class with Diane, the faculty advisor at the Paisano, and she's many other things outside of that, but she was, like a kind of like a professor in a way. I think of Paul Arduin, who he's the teaches several of the film classes. He's program director for the film program. Is certainly one that comes to mind. I don't really remember. I took my technical writing class, which was like I think was the semester that we went online for COVID. Was taught by a professor named Maya Adamina. She was really really interesting as well, and certainly kind of insightful from the perspective of like technical writing. Those are some of the few that come to mind.
And did you have a favorite like year? I know a lot of people enjoyed their senior year, or did you like prefer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Good question. I would say senior year. Yeah, that was that kind of it wasn't like a senior seminar. Maybe it was. I don't know. But the like required course that you had to take for comm to graduate was really cool. And I was taking some other film classes at the time that were also really interesting as well. I would probably say senior year. Yeah.
And your campus experience, did you spend a lot of time on campus?
I did spend a lot more time on campus, especially like when I did end up landing at the Paisano. Part of it was the fact that I lived, 20 minutes there and back isn't too crazy, like minus traffic, but yeah, I tended to spend a lot of time on campus. When my cousin was going there, like we'd meet up sometimes. And then of course, like for the Paisano, like just being in close proximity to the office, like it just kind of made sense to kind of stay close to campus.
And did you have a favorite study spot on campus, or did you prefer the Paisano office?
Paisano was certainly nice. On campus, I a lot, several times during like my senior year, I would go up to like the fourth floor of the humanities building, and like crash in one of there was this, I guess it's facing kind of the business building on the fourth floor, but it had these like floor to ceiling windows that were really cool. You could kind of see you could see out from there. And then if it was nice outside, I'd like to go sit up by like the student union, closer to like the convocation center, like those down by the Freebirds, and nice little picnic tables and stuff down there. But yeah, if not on campus, then yeah, for sure at the Paisano.
And now I'd like to talk a bit about the Paisano. How would you say that being a part of the Paisano enhanced your university experience?
I think it was super impactful for me. It certainly got me kind of more interested in, even more interested, I think, in kind of, committing to like reading and writing assignments and stuff as well. I obviously, with journalism, that's part of the process for a newspaper, at least. But I think it was a really formative time. I mean, when I found that Paisano, it was like mid-pandemic. It was when we were all online, and kind of getting involved with that, and doing it in an online kind of fashion in the same way that work was being done for regular classes. It was super cool. And then when we came back in person, like it, just kind of transitioning both in school and both at the newspaper, it was super nice and really good for me, I think.
I'd like to talk about what you're doing right now. So could you tell us about your job?
Certainly, yes. I work at KSAT 12 News, which is one of the broadcast TV stations in San Antonio. I work on the digital team. So my official title is it's a training position. It's a lot like a kind of a fellowship kind of thing, a longer internship, I guess, maybe. But yeah, so I work on the digital team, and been a really awesome experience, kind of getting to take what I learned and kind of experience while I was in college working at the Paisano, and kind of applying that to a newsroom outside of it. Really awesome. It's been a super awesome experience so far. I've been in it since May of last year, so it's certainly been a really interesting time to kind of see how the news cycle functions, both on like a breaking news scale and a digital news scale as well. And it's been really interesting to kind of see what I enjoy covering, and the thing is that for me stand out as interesting. It's been nice too, the fact that it's in San Antonio. It was, I think, kind of for me getting my foot in the door and being able to do that in a city that I know and that I'm familiar with has been really, really important.
And have you had like a favorite assignment that you've had to do, or something that really stood out from your experience?
Yeah. I think some of the like beats for me that kind of stand out as that have been interesting, like stories that I've enjoyed covering, have been related to like climate and the environment, even like higher education stuff as well. That was like a lot of the stuff the at the time when I was I guess the second semester, maybe even like the tail end of my first semester as editor-in-chief, like there was a lot of stuff already kind of happening in the Texas legislature that we didn't really know like how it would look. And now it's really interesting to kind of see now as a graduate, like kind of how that stuff has changed, and getting to cover it from the outside. There was a story, it's kind of like my first really big project, I think, at KSAT. It was I got to do a short little on-air piece for it. It was a really big web story as well. It was about a history piece for sure. It was about a kind of a retrospective look, I guess, at the life of this gentleman who owned one of the city's first racially integrated nightclubs back in the 1940s. Into the 50s a little bit, kind of on a brief hiatus, and then it resurfaced again on the west side in the 1960s, late 50s, 1960s. But that's a story that I'm super was super proud to kind of see through to the end. Like that was several months of research, of interviews and writing and different drafts for the story, and then eventually like helping form an on-air piece with another journalist helping out on that. Like that was something certainly that's like I'll be able to look back on with like being super proud of, for sure.
That sounds so interesting story, and so exciting that you get to use all your skills and really grow more in your job. So I'm really happy for you that you have a job that helps you do that. And so I have only two questions left. This one is kind of a fun question to end up on. I know you are a big movie buff, movie critic. I see your stories on Instagram. So is there a movie that you've seen recently that you would recommend to our audience?
Man, I'm gonna pull up my letterbox real quick. I don't always I haven't really truthfully been watching a lot of movies recently. I will say that I'm excited to see Dune on Thursday. I'm seeing that with some friends, so that's certainly something I'm really looking forward to. There was a movie I did watch maybe a couple months ago, like maybe 2 months ago or so, on Tubi actually, which was, it's like a free, like there's commercials and stuff like that in them. This movie was like it was like an hour and 20 minutes, so I actually didn't even have any commercials, which was super cool. But it's called Coherence, and it's a I would say very much like a low budget kind of indie ish science fiction movie, time travel, physics maybe too, or like some kind of like thematic element as well, but super interesting movie. I think the for being kind of under the low budget moniker, like it was super engaging, and I like that the hour and 20 minute whatever runtime, like I was engaged the whole time. Like it was so good. So that's something I would recommend to people. It's called Coherence.
Okay, I will check it out on Tubi.
There you go.
Sounds fun. Okay, and thank you for that. And our final question is just, do you have any advice for current students about like maybe how they can pursue their passions as you have after they graduate?
I think be curious, in the context of a student journalist, like being curious makes sense. And even for anybody, if you're doing kind of like if you're pursuing some type of arts or humanities, like just being curious and being passionate about what you want to do, and knowing that like that's okay if like other people might look at you funny for being interested in that kind of thing. Like, doesn't matter, as long as you're passionate about it and interested in it, like that matters. And I think curiosity and wanting to know more is applicable to anybody in any circumstance. I think for me it's been certainly a really important facet to my interest in journalism. So that's what I would say.
Thank you very much, Mason, for agreeing to meet with me. We will everybody at the Paisano will be really excited to watch this interview, and all of our followers, of course. So thank you so much, and thank you for listening.
Thanks for watching. Click the logo for more from the Paisano. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content.